Right, so for this video, sort of carrying on from the methods in focusing video that we've done on this exact same peg about half an hour ago on the maggot feeders.
We've just changed methods, haven't we, mate?
Yes, he's just having a different plate with something else, and we're on Andy's most favouriteest method in the world.
Oh, yes, please.
He's catching some silvers on Waggler, which is, for you, it's without doubt your favourite thing to do in the winter, isn't it?
Doesn't get any better, Jay. You just catch everything swimming, you're getting the fish over a big area, you're getting fish coming in, different species of fish as well all the time, and you can just search so much water with it, Jay. It's just...
It's exciting as well.
Oh, mate, it's such a good
To be controversial, it's like proper fishing, isn't it? It's
yeah.
How it used to be.
It is, obviously, you know, you can, especially when the water, oh, we missed it. Especially when, you know, this time of year when you can cover a lot more water and the fish can get a little bit spooky. Yeah. You know what I mean? Clear the water, the fish can get a bit spooky.
A bit further out than we can with a pole.
Yeah. Yeah,
without
definitely.
A big wobbly stick above the heads.
And it's that presentation, you know, with them, obviously them shots down the line, making that bait come through nice and natural as well. It's, oh, mate, it's just amazing. There's loads of little tips and tricks and all that we can
well,
that
that's
we can
what
go
you're
through.
Going to tell us all now, and me as well.
Yeah, so basically, we'll start off. Oh, that was one on the drop. We'll start off from Wagglers. Light Wagglers are a must for this, folks. No.
Always or nearly always an insert variety.
Yeah, so and loaded as well, Jay.
You're a loaded fan?
I can't be doing with unloaded floats.
Yeah?
Why not? The reason is obviously all the harsh, non-toxic shot that you've got to put around your float. I mean, obviously I know there's ways and means around it, putting a bit of silicone in there and all this, that and the other, but loaded, I think they fly so much straighter as well. And it's just obviously the insert as well. It must be insert for bite detection this time of year. Now this is quite a thick
insert bit, definitely.
Insert on these particular floats, these Kev Leach ones, but they're so visible.
Yes.
And that's what you want, obviously. Like the light levels this time of year can be an absolute nightmare, can't they?
Yeah, being able to, I like interchangeable ones, because you can, like you say, it's seeing it is a nightmare at this time of year, isn't it? With whether it's pole or Waggler, but
yeah, 100%. But yeah, coming back to size of float, so. I mean, I've always used, and I'll still use them now, the Drennan loaded inserts with the peacock tips in like a 1.5 or a 1.75 gram. And I know every one of them floats, thereabouts, are going to take 5 or 6 number 8 stots either side of the float, and then 3 to 4 number 10s down the line.
So 5 or 6 stots either. I'm with you. Yeah. Why do you use stots and not big ones?
Right. So the reason this is pretty much the only time I'd use stots as opposed to shots as well, Jay.
Yeah.
In they move a lot easier on your line. So when I don't want to move them, obviously down the line I've got number 10s on today. They're shots. I don't want them to move.
Yeah.
But towards my float, I might want to change depth. I might want to come shallower. Obviously, I mean I'm on the bottom, so I won't want to necessarily go deeper unless a load of wing it up and we've got a load of undertow. But they move so much easier on your line. They don't mark your line. So that's why stots either side of it. Again, yeah, you know, you could put the old sort of float adapters on the you know, the snap link swivels with the rubbers either side of it. Yeah, that'd work, but it's so much easier doing it.
It is nice. I like it. Since I saw you doing this years ago.
Yeah.
I've always used, like for me, silverfishy Waggler thing, it is just so nice having stots.
Yeah.
Unless, yeah.
You can do more things with it, you know, throughout the day. You know, if they did come shallow, you're noticing you were getting bites through the water. You could shallow up dead quick and it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference.
Yes. Wow, I knew that was so much nicer.
Oh, it's a little babby one. Smallest fish we've had today, this one.
Isn't it? What were you for? Is he a little roach?
Got to be a roach. Oh, he's fell.
A little roach.
Fell off.
So what have we got on now? We've got on 1.5 gram, you say that one is?
This is 1.5 gram Kev Leach one.
And to allow nice casting of light floats like that,
yeah,
do you go dead light on your main line?
Main line's so important. No heavier than 0.16J, so it'll be similar to what you be on your cat, innit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so important that you're not using a thick main line, because obviously the friction through your rod rings, you're just not going to get the distance. Now obviously, the whole essence of Waggler fishing is that you need to be fishing where you can comfortably feed your bait. I don't want to be trying to sort of like reach for the distance with my bait, especially with maggots and casters, Jay, because they're going to go all over the place.
Yeah, if I want to touch on that real quick.
Go on, mate.
For the bestest maggots,
yeah,
I've been obsessed with this year. For how much difference does using good big bait take? So with your shop, Dave's up our way.
They're just like, they're massive. They're like blooming snakes and massive big slugs, aren't they, more than maggots?
It is. Lane's baity maggots are a bit special, but it's a proper edge for me, I find it now.
Yeah.
When I'm cattying maggots like that, of that size, when you put about 3 in a catapult because they're that big, but it makes such a difference to a grouping. Like they grouped Megan then, didn't they, at that?
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to
distance.
get a certain degree of a spread, especially any form of loose feeding. That was a rapid bite. Right, I'm going to do something a bit different now, Jay. I'm going to sink the line.
Go on, you've just shown me this and
No,
it proper
it's not.
surprised
So,
me.
more often than not, folks, I want my line floating, you know, obviously when conditions allow, because I feel as though you hit the bites a lot quicker. However, what I've noticed over the last few years, you seem to hit more now by sinking your line, especially fast biting fish like Ide and roach and that. And I don't know, I think it's because your line's more direct to your float. Because obviously when it's floating, there's always going to be some degree of, you know, the line bending out a bit so you're not as direct to your float. I don't know, it's just...
It's strange, it definitely worked that last cast, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like you said, with certain species, chub and F1s, I think you've got to be instant and floating.
Yeah.
But with what's going on here, like you say, when you sunk it,
It's
sinking
not...
it fixes it.
And the other thing as well that I'll experiment with, Jay, is if I'm noticing I'm getting a lot of fish on the drop, I'll do it sort of pellet waggler style. I'll feed me bait first and then cast in over the top.
Yeah.
But, you know, more often than not, when it is particularly cold, you know, just cast in first and then have something to aim at.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. If you're noticing, obviously, there you go.
How
See,
mad's
straight
that?
away, sunk the line and we hit it straight away. I can only assume it's because your line's tighter. Come on, all you Waggler legends, the likes of Johnny Allerton and Dave Arrow. Tell us why. Tell us why you hit him. I've always... Kieran Rich, he's another one. He's taught me loads on the Waggler. Kieran Rich, proper legend. I mean, he was always a floaty line person.
Was
as long
he?
as it's straight, but he's always maintained it's got to be straight, and it has.
Yeah.
Got to be straight.
Yeah, tight lines everything in every bit of fishing,
Oh.
isn't it? But that it is dead interesting. That's not
It's nuts, isn't
a
it?
done for the camera thing.
No.
That's generally twice you've done it and both times
How
it's
many
worked.
bites did we miss before it? 3?
Yeah.
We sunk it straight away.
I mean, it doesn't fix every bite, but the percentage is massive compared to leaving it floating, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's them as well. I'd have said the opposite.
Look at the size. You'd have thought there'd have been smaller fish with missing the bites, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But I'd have said the opposite. I'd have said it's sinking the line, it's making you miss them, which is dead, or that would make you miss more. Look at them, they're proper ones then.
Imagine
Andy,
that.
we're coming back here next week. It's
Isn't
happening.
it? It's just amazing. Right, yeah, let's touch on some other little things then, Jace.
Oh yeah.
So, in fact, let me cast out first. I'm going to cast in with no bait on.
No bait on.
No bait on. Cast in with no bait on. So you want to overcast where you're fishing. First thing.
How far? Just.
Probably, yeah, what, we're 2 or 3 metres over where we're fishing.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're sinking your rod first. So it's probably what we're saying there, it's probably like 2 foot under the water.
Yeah.
Then as you're winding, you want to wind quick and whip up at the same time. So as that float starts to go under, and then you can see all your line sinking one.
I see one quick turn on your reel.
One quick turn.
One quick, or even half turn, innit?
Yeah.
It's just a quick, and at the same time you're flicking it up and it sinks.
It's
the vast majority.
This is the important thing, folks. You need to be winding as you're flicking it up. All too often I see, certainly when you're coaching, you probably get it as well, Jay, they're just putting the rod under and flicking it. Where it's this business here, you've got to make sure your line's tight so it's whipping through the surface tension of the water.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that helps sink you. I only flick it when I'm trying to switch my float. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got to sink your line, you've got to have a turn on your reel as well, haven't you, to put it under.
Definitely. It does make a big difference.
I'm not a fan of that though, if I've got a short line on my pole. Do you know, if I'm feeding a short line, I'm
Right, you
fishing
think
a
it
Waggler,
scares them?
I'm always scared of doing that, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but whether that's in my head or not, I don't know.
Mate, it's noise, isn't it? Noise attracts fishes. Come on, Jay.
But no, it's in my head, it's just a thing
I
that
suppose
I
so,
thought, yeah.
mate, yeah, and it's little things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know which is, but
Yeah, I suppose so. It's little things like that that will, you know, put you off.
so another thing I want to touch on dead quick
Yeah, Mum.
is rods for it. Yeah,
Yes.
it's not your conventional pellet waggler rods that are really, are really
No,
too
so
suitable.
there's no place whatsoever, folks, for 11, even 12 foot rods, I'd say, for this kind of fishing. Because of the line pickup, you need ideally minimum of 13 foot, sometimes even 14 and maybe 15 foot, but that's more so for
Yeah,
rivers.
bit
That's
specialist,
completely
that,
different.
innit?
But yeah, 13 light wagglers. You don't want medium wagglers ideally because there's too much force there.
Yeah.
Having said that, we'll go through set more in a bit, Jay, can't we? But I'm using longer up lengths. You know, I love using sort of 10, 12 inch up lengths.
Yeah.
And you can get away with fishing a little bit heavier in the line because obviously it's going to fall a lot slower and a lot
Possibly,
more
yeah.
supple.
But what you're saying then is the best example, isn't it? You need to treat it Your rods are almost like treating your elastic to your hook length. It's the same sort of thing, isn't it? With this style of waggler fishing, because you go in that light, you're on your 012, even your 010s, maybe even lighter, but probably not. In fact, no, 010 would be the lightest.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I have done in the past, gone really light, Jay, but you don't need to on these kind of waters.
No, not on a commercial for this, is it?
No, certainly no lighter than 010, but 012 is about right. You know, you shouldn't have to go any lighter than 012 even getting bites, because you can use a longer hook length in the first place.
Yeah, and a nice soft, long, bendy rod
Yeah.
is going to cushion that hook length all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really tippy, this rod, very, very soft. As soon as you're striking into them fish, you can feel them instantly. And that's what you want. Small reels as well. I've only got sort of like a 2,500, 3,000 reel on. You don't need big
You like a
reels for
thingy
it.
reel as well, don't you? That was dead into. That was another thing that
What's that,
you
mate?
always taught me. The slower retrieve reels are best
Yes.
for waggler fishing.
Yeah, because of the line twist.
Yeah,
Um,
but for natural baiting waggler fishing rather, isn't it?
yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, yeah, it don't matter. Ooh, we missed him. Don't matter so much with pellets.
Yes.
So I'm going to try feeding this time, casting in over the top. I don't think they're coming off the bottom, but it's just another style that I want to show you a lovely lot. Similar to pellet waggler style, feed first, cast into it. If you are noticing, you know, obviously foul up fish, swirls, liners, but to be fair, most of our bites have come in as soon as that's
Just
settled.
after it's settling.
You're getting that little dink.
If you're getting lots of indications on the settle,
Yeah.
would you shallow up to come off bottom ever?
On the settle, no, I just leave it as it was. As
And
long as I
you'd
was
rather
hooking
have
them.
the slow fall and best of both on the way
100%
down and
best,
on the deck.
Best of both worlds, NJ.
You'd never have a half depth waggler.
No. Would I have an half depth waggler? Yeah, I would. Obviously, if you were missing loads of bites and they didn't really want to be on the bottom.
Would you? You'd
then,
still.
Yeah. So we mentioned it before, Jay. Blundulls. Remember
man.
the ass pool on Blundulls
man.
with them hide?
Yeah.
It was always best on there, fishing 3 foot deep.
Was it?
3 foot deep with like 3 number 11s down the line, and just do it pellet waggler style.
Well, like 3/4 of the way across.
Yeah, it was
Just where you can feed.
ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's well off bottom, isn't it? That's well above half depth.
Definitely. The other thing as well, you know, as I sunk my line, I'm going to leave my rod tip slightly in the water. I don't want to lift it out or anything. Certainly certainly if there's any wind, you know what I mean? The wind isn't bad today, but if there's any wind that's going to be blowing me my line from my rod tip, you strike against obviously that point first rather than at your float.
Yes,
That
I'd say
makes
that
sense.
is definitely the one thing with the waggler, isn't it? Its downfall is how messed up it can be by conditions.
Yeah, definitely.
It does have to be. It's not a method you can go to a venue wanting to fish and fish it no matter what.
No,
is it?
conditions have got to be. I mean, for example, if Rich pans across over there, the wind's pretty strong today, but it's lovely off our back. If he was on sort of these pegs over here, trying to fish this in a side wind, not a chance. You won't be able to do it. Well, you would, but your bait would be all over the place.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that.
Everyone's an hide on this, isn't it? Look
Just
at them.
no. As soon as it hits that bottom, oh, you lovely lot. It's just
That's it. The way you're feeding as well, it's as if, even though you're feeding on top of your float,
ignore
with
him.
how quick you get a
Ignore
bite.
him. Ignore him.
What?
Sorry, Jay. What were you saying,
Go
mate?
on. How you get your bite? This guy thought this was a crewy
I
then.
thought it was going to be gold.
No. That's a big hybrid.
We got it. Listen, hybrid. Yeah, this is what I was saying about before, Jay.
Right, this is
Look at
amazing.
the state of
isn't it?
these hybrids.
We need to come on here really
Look at
bad.
him. That's a small one. Immaculate.
Ugh.
Never ever been caught that. Let me
Yeah,
show
we're
you,
playing.
lovely lot. Look at the state of them. Isn't it? Like blue tinge and everything. Just. You can see why I like it, folks, can't you? It's just catching everything. And it's just right, isn't it? Just right.
But wait, I was going to go with all the
Go on.
intelligent then. I was going to say with feed.
Yeah.
'Cause what have you got there? 5.5 foot?
Yeah, probably a little bit more, Jay, I'd say. About 6 foot.
Oh, yeah,
I'd
we're on
say.
6, so it's a
Yeah,
lot
man.
of time now. That's going into what we were mentioning before about the fall of your maggots. So when you're chucking in first and feeding on top.
Yep.
You're almost feeding.
For your next cast.
That's the next cast, isn't it?
Proper. That's exactly what it's like on the rivers. Coming back to that as well.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you're feeding, but your feed where you're getting the fish is from your previous feed.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's the same sort of thing, isn't it? Yeah, 'cause that's by the time the maggots hit bottom, you've struck, wound in, and you're potentially casting over the top of them, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. You're wanting to go with this, aren't you, Jay?
I'm proper wanting to go on this. The maggot feeder that you had to go, I was like, yeah, I'll have a go. Now I'm like, get off that box.
Yeah, man, it's just can't. You just literally can't be. Yeah, you see
They
the
keep
gudgeon
jumping
there.
here, the gudgeon, don't they?
And this is well, you know, when we were on the maggot feeder before, the little twitches.
Yeah.
When that's on the bottom, when it's settled, which is any time from now, little twitches like that.
Yeah,
that'll
even
make
it's such a thick tip, really, isn't it?
There you go.
What are we going to go
Twitches.
for? It's like
Gudgeon.
a 2.5mm tip, isn't it?
Gudgeon off the little twitch.
Yeah.
Go on, Jay. Sorry, mate.
What you say on them wagglers? 2.5mm tip. Little roach.
They're little roaches.
It's
Yeah.
amazing how
Yeah.
even them, every single one of them number 10s, what have you got on, 4 number 10s?
So we've got 4 number 10s.
They
and
all
that-
register, don't they?
Yeah,
You
definitely.
pretty much see that. You know when your rig's all the way through and when it's hit the bottom.
Yeah. So sensitive, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you have it that if you had a bit of a side wind,
Yeah.
you'd plumb up so you're a bit over depth, so your bait actually shows up, or it shows up when it's anchored, doesn't it? So your float actually goes a bit lower, doesn't it, with the waggler as well? It's a really easy way
Yeah,
of showing
so
up.
I mean, I could afford to like probably take a number 8 off, so it'd be like half that bristle because it's so sensitive.
Yeah.
And I want to go more over depth. You know, sometimes I'm talking, 8-10 inches over depth. Sometimes if there's a real bad undertow,
Yeah.
it allows you to do it for fishing this sensitive.
Yeah.
I've got number 10s down the line. If it was a little bit shallower, I'd probably have number 11s down the line. But I'd
Would
never
ya?
go any lighter than
Would
that. Yeah.
You
it does
swap
make a
them 10
difference.
just to try and slow it a little
Definitely.
bit, maybe.
Definitely,
Space them
but
out a bit more as well.
Having number 10 certainly for hide, obviously, it's keeping it nice and stiff tight as it falls through, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. The other thing as well that is probably one of the most important things in it with waggler fishing is feathering it.
Yes.
Making
It's
sure
gotta
you're
land in a
getting
line,
your bait to land past your float. So you're watching it through the air and then stopping it with your finger.
Yeah.
So that you can see your hook bait going past your
What
float.
do you do
Go on.
if you're chucking against an island over it? It's a weird, it always does my head do that because feathering's right, but then you think, I want it to go the other way.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Yes, I've played with that loads at Steve's place and I still don't know what's right.
Yeah, just don't chuck in open water. don't chuck to islands. Chuck a method to the island.
Yes.
Don't chuck a waggler to it. But no, it's brilliant. You get bites every go. I don't think we've been in yet and not had a bite, have we? Since we've been doing
No,
it.
literally every cast in it. It's weird as well because we fished a maggot feeder before this
Yeah.
and we're not getting anywhere near as many bites,
No.
aren't we? Whether it's a different depth that they don't want to be in, but I don't think it is. I just think it's the type
presentation.
of presentation with the bait falling through.
Yeah.
Because in fact, all your bites on your maggot feeder were coming on a settle.
Yeah.
Whereas, the settle of that is 2 or 3 seconds, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas now you've probably got, what do you reckon it takes that rig to settle? 6, 7, 8 seconds?
I'm saying that 8 to 10 seconds.
You're
It's
getting a
probably-
big window, aren't you, for them to see it?
settled now, so I'm going to give it a twitch. So you can see a tiny little movement, but it shows up instantly on that float, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What we're saying, I'm going to go
Just
skimming. We
looks
haven't had any
dead
skimmers
right,
yet, have we?
No, we're just catching hide today. Hide day today.
I reckon something big's moved in.
I'm going to catch goldfish as soon as I get on.
Mate, you're not catching the goldfish. I'm claiming it because it's on my gear.
So I think your bait fell off. This is the
You
longest we took.
stayed under then off the little twitch.
It is. What, we talked about hooks now. You've gone quite a big hook again, haven't you?
Yep, so same as the maggot feeder one, we've got a 16s 911 F1. Yeah, because again, you know, I love fishing sort of double maggot on it. You know, big standout bait over than what you're feeding.
Them big maggots that we're on about as well, they make a 16 look a little.
Yeah, they're amazing. But yeah, no, you can get away with a bigger hook, again, as long as it's not like too thick a wire.
You hook them normally?
Yeah, so top and tail.
Do
But
you?
obviously, like single maggot, you know, side hook it, try that. The only trouble with this on a single maggot is when you're
Yeah,
winding it back,
spinach.
spinning up, even if you have
Yeah.
got a slow retrieve reel. So I said 9 times out of 10, Jay, I fish double maggot on
Yeah,
a waggler.
I'm saying always double. You tend to, you lose one quite often on the
Yes.
whacking it as well.
And you're
don't
whacking
you?
it, and then when you're going to sink your line as well, or
Yeah.
even feathering it too hard. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that can make a
happen.
maggot ping off.
He's going,
The
he's
light's
going.
gone a bit
Is he
funny,
going?
hasn't it?
Just give it a twitch. Give it a twitch, he's come back up. Yeah, I'm probably just, what we're saying, I plumbed up with an AA, so shot it out my float and everything, put an AA shot on the hook, chucked it in, couldn't see it to start with, so I've come up 4 inches, saw it, took 2 inches off it, still saw it, so I know I was like there or thereabouts, sort of like 4 inches over depth. Does that make sense?
That's something different.
I'm not waffling, am I? What we're saying, gudgeon.
I thought it was going to be on them little fish.
Go on the gudgeons! Yeah, the little
He's got a big
gudgeons!
one, him.
Go on the gudgeons! We're on a species hunt, aren't we?
Yes.
So, I mean, this is like true to form of what I'd like as well, isn't it? You never ever get them all session either, will
No,
you?
little spell and then gone. So we didn't talk about, so you went,
Go
you
on,
got
mate.
a bit excited and got straight
I
into
don't get
it.
excited when I'm waggler fishing.
If you can have a waggler line,
yeah.
feed it, go on it straight away or not. For silvery waggler, this sort of style now.
I probably would for silvers, you know.
Would you think?
Well, if I had this, I'd always start off on an island, something like a feature, like we've done.
Would you?
Yeah, definitely. And then I'd prime
If
this.
that island
again.
wasn't there and you were planning on fishing waggler and pole, start on waggler.
I would.
Because they're more likely to be out there and then come shorter later on.
Definitely.
I like that's how I think as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I mean, anything like that, I wasn't looking proper then. Anything like that was on the drop, that I know.
Yes.
Anything like that, I think you've always got to start off on a feature, if you like.
Yeah, and just feed your waggler for half hour, an hour.
Yeah.
Just with only loose feed it, never ground bait or nothing like that.
No, I don't ground bait whatsoever, mate, to be fair, because you
For
can't get it accurate enough.
Commercials, it's not right, is it?
No.
For waggler, ground bait on a waggler line.
You just can't get it accurate enough, and obviously they come to that tight pile, whereas obviously when you're loose feeding, it's over a big area, which is brilliant.
Yes.
It's what you want. And obviously you're not spooking the fish, you're getting different fish coming in all the time. And
Yeah, you've got a big old area to fish around as well, haven't you? So you can catch them off different bits.
You see that little dink first? And we had it. It's just, this might be, no, it's fighting too hard.
Yeah.
I was going to say it might have been one of our ginger friends, this one.
No, he's far too lively for a gingers. Are just like, they're like
He's
dead.
fell off.
Oh.
It's fell off. That's the worst thing about hides as well, isn't it, when they fall off? No, want a goldfish, want a goldfish, want a goldfish. If I'd have seen
Come right
it,
up, you'd see it straight away, wouldn't you?
yeah, they don't fight. They just sort of pop to the top, don't they? Boing, come straight up. Don't normally get them falling off though, these big hooks.
No.
You loving it, Jay?
Would you fish thing it off always within your feed, or do you catch off back of it sometimes?
No, you'll catch off the back of it. Obviously, because it's going over a big area, Jay.
Yeah.
You're going to catch left and right of it. Not necessarily, obviously, shorter, but left and right, yeah, tucking past it.
Yeah.
And you don't need to feed loads, you know what I mean? It's because it's an area where a lot of people won't necessarily fish. You don't need to put
It's
a lot
that
of bait in.
unfish zone where the fish live, isn't it,
Yeah.
for me, that? Yeah.
Look at that,
Just,
look at
just
it, look at
past.
it. Oh,
That was a
we
little
missed
gudgeon running
that.
away with it.
How have we missed that, Jamie? You even like had a warning first. I was going to get the bite. He's like, Andy, I'm going to eat it in a minute. It ate it and I still missed it. Right, I'm not sinking it. I'm not sinking it.
You're leaving it on this.
Come on. It's proper versatile. You can cover so much area.
You find that a peg like this is quite instant, or do you think it develops? Is it something you've got to work at, a waggler line? Or?
You've got to, yeah, definitely waggler lines. You've got to work at it.
Yeah.
100%. Again, if you had like an island to fish up to, you'll get quicker responses. But obviously that island is too far away to fish with a waggler, really. But yeah, open water, especially when it's fairly clear as well, you have got to work at it.
Yeah. Yeah, the same as feeding a middle line, sort of, isn't it? On a snake lake, you've got to keep that loose feed going in.
Yeah, definitely.
To drag them in, and you're going to drag a lot of fish because you're feeding a big area, but within a big area as well, because you're in open water doing it.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of fish there. I love it with a waggler. It's so much more versatile for catching them on the drop compared to a pole rig, isn't it?
Yeah.
A pole rig has to be very light and lovely to catch on the drop, whereas a waggler, because you just have nothing down it but with heavier line, you see what's going on, and I think it's minimal resistance, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, because that what the shotting you've got down your line there is the equivalent of a less than a 410s.
You just can't really do it on a pole rig, can you?
No.
With all that rig falls through. You're catching fish that you're missing out of 100% on a pole.
It's a more natural fall than you can even get with a pole, isn't it?
Yeah.
With float to pole ratio.
Yeah, definitely.
Float to shot ratio, rather.
On it today, you, Jane, yeah.
Yeah,
Go on, mate.
I'm like a little pupil here. I'm liking it, thinking about everything today. Yes. I know, it's the intricate little things that make you understand why the method's so good, and
Yeah.
that's what you play about with to get bites, isn't it? When it
Yeah.
goes a bit tricky, it's mucking about with shotting. That's another good you.
Oh, little baby ones have moved in.
What
is that?
Little perch.
Have we got another species? Yeah, go on the perch. What's the perchies doing out there?
Little perch.
So that's probably one of the only fish that you don't need to change your bait on, isn't it, a perch? Because they never chew it. Never ever chew it.
See, I want you to catch a daddy rough next.
You know what? I've never
Love a
caught
daddy
daddy rough on commercials.
No?
Catch loads in the Weaver.
I caught one for years, a daddy rough.
Come on, let's get on the ride.
2 feeds to try and make something happen.
Yeah, you just got to switch it up with a waggler. I suppose it's like any form of fishing, but certainly with a waggler, the fish can get used to your feeding pattern at times.
Yeah.
And it's trying to outwit them, obviously.
You got any preference over maggots or casters?
Casters miles better.
Why?
Obviously, casters, you can't really get hold of them at the minute, though, you know what I mean?
Why would you pick them
just
instead?
group them better. And I think maggot over caster stands out so much better than just putting the same bait in.
So you wouldn't put, if you were to feed casters,
Yeah,
you'd have a maggot on the hook,
always, yeah.
just for durability.
Always. Look at that. Double feed and we've got a tench. I don't know, actually.
That's
Oh,
something
what's
different.
that? That might be a skimmer. What are you saying, Rich?
Are you shouting skimmer, Rich?
I'm shouting, yeah,
I'm going to go big-eyed.
Are you going big ids?
and go big ids.
I don't know, you know. I think,
It's odds on, isn't it? We caught nothing else but ids. Like big fish.
we've had some gudgeon and perch. What we on? Go on the big ids.
Big ids.
Jay's on it. Jay's on it. That's a
Big
big
id
id.
day.
Look at that for an id.
It's a proper one, that, isn't it?
Ooh, look at the belly on that one. That's a proper id. Eesh.
It is.
Yeah, what we going on about before, Jay?
Maggots and casters, yes.
Maggots, so yeah. So waters like this, obviously feeding through a catapult, casters, 100%. I'd sooner feed casters because you can group them better and the noise factor.
Yeah.
And putting a maggot over the caster just sits out completely different.
Yeah. You can go a little bit further with casters sometimes as well.
Yeah,
with feeding
definitely.
them.
It's a grouping more than anything for me though, Jay.
Yeah.
Obviously it's not too bad today with the wind right on our back, we can get there with the maggots. But when I'm on like a snake lake, I can't put casters on the snake lake.
No, it's weird,
Not
isn't
a
it?
chance this time of year.
Yeah.
Not
Isn't
a
it weird?
chance.
Well, I never find casters that good on the bottom on commercials, but for this they can be. And like,
Oh, yeah,
if you're fishing silvers, you would use them, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, aye, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Imagine hoofing a load of casters in by hand on AJ.
Oh, do you think I'd like casters as much as like maggots?
Yes,
Do they?
Definitely.
Yeah, happy with that.
definitely, mate. Love them. Love them.
Yeah, it'd be F1s would be the fussy one for me if they were involved.
Sometimes you love them, sometimes you don't really catch on them, do you?
No, I never
Casters.
feel F1s like casters on the bottom very often.
Oh, is that what it is?
I don't know why. Yeah.
I think it's because they fall a little bit different as well.
The F1s are just fussy, horrible things, innit? That's all it is.
They ain't no hide, are they, Jay?
No, I just eat.
They ain't no hide on the
I'd be an hide
Waggler.
if I were a fish. An hide or a chub.
I'd may I'll be a
instantly
chub.
when food's there, I'm on it.
Instant, straight away, first fish, back of the keep net, keep me there all day.
Yeah. That'd be me. Spew up a load of burgers when you got in there. Because yeah, that's me. Right, one more and you're getting evicted yet again.
You having another go, mate?
Yes, definitely time for another go. But no, that's been a nice. We haven't missed nothing, have we? I like that. It's a nice technically bit.
Yeah, I've gone through. Yeah, obviously, it's just keeping in touch with the fish, like any form of fishing.
You know what it'd be? I do need to touch on why this would be so good as well.
Yeah,
Is that how often when you're doing this, are you the only one doing it and you get all that
Yes.
water to yourself?
definitely. I mean, we always say we want to try and get further out than those around us, don't we, Jay?
Yeah.
And obviously, by doing this, which is very similar to like what you'd be presenting the bait with a pole, you've got them all to yourself.
Yeah, well, you're Nick. If I'm on this peg next to you,
Do you,
do you know what I mean? You're stealing and I'm only fishing a long line on a pole.
Goujons!
Yeah. You're getting all my fish. If they've backed off, which they often do to start with, you're going to have an hour on fish before me and you're going to take a percentage of my fish off me.
Definitely.
Rather than vice versa.
But, folks, I want to tell you a little story now about once upon a time, back in the day, when this fella was next to me. I'm going back like 12, 13 years
Now,
now.
this isn't applicable to what we're on about.
On the new pool. I just want to go off on a tangent, Jay, alright?
Oh, no, I don't know what story you're going to tell now on new pools.
On the new pools, where I used to fish like a little waggler like this, right across to the far bank at 35 yards, firing little tiny balls of ground bait, no other bait in or anything. I'd catch carp on it, catching loads of fish on it, winning loads of matches. This fella rocked up, smashed me to bits on the pole, didn't he?
That was F1s though. That's all right. That's good.
To be fair, it was F1s. Carp didn't feed that day.
Do you know what I did that day? We're going to random on a story time now. I remember it was one of them days you had to tell your floats
Do you remember
dotted down like mad. We were on pool one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it had to be really hard to see a bite. and I'm fishing 16 metres where they used to live in the middle,
Yes.
to make me peg calm, because the wind was the same as this as well on our back.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there was a ripple, I couldn't see me float. I was having to get pellet oil and
Is that what
squirt
you're
a bit
doing?
of pellet oil by my feet, and it kept me peg calm. How mad's that? I remember that day we were doing that. Very random, but
Just
there you
always
go.
thinking. Yeah, it just made me think of it then.
Yeah, Waggler, oh, missed
But yeah,
the
when
pulls
they
now.
back off and they're on the pole, it's an area you've got all to yourself.
Yeah, it's a very dominating line, isn't it? Where
Yeah.
you're in your area, you're claiming a big old chunk of water and dragging a lot of fish in.
Yeah.
Compared to matey next to you who's just cupping a few maggots in on the pole. It's
And if you
the fish
decide
are
to set it
feeding-
up like a little bit later on, it's too late. You've already got the fish by then.
Yeah, yeah, you
never the
feed
same,
it
is it?
instantly as well.
Yeah.
Straight away, that line's getting fed.
Yeah. A
That's something different as well.
tinker on the yellows.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, boy. Thought
that-
you swim right
Is that
towards me.
ginge? Is that
That's a tinker on the
green one?
yellows. It's either a tinker or a crucian.
Or a crewy maybe, isn't it?
It's crewy, isn't it? I don't know. Yeah, it's crewy that. No, it's Thomas. It's
I'm
got to
going
be a
for
Thomas.
Yeah, he's too lively for it. He's
Yeah.
done no circles.
Go on, the Thomases.
I'm liking that. I
Thought he
that was a lovely display and a bit of wagglering.
Thought it was sweet corn, didn't it? Out of season Thomas. Love it. Love it.
But no, enjoy that. That was a nice insight in it to a method that definitely isn't used enough, is it? But
No,
it's
not at all.
so enjoyable to have a day on the old Waggler and maggots.
It's just, and as you can see, he catches absolutely everything. And that's the beauty of it. It's that business of that bait falling nice and slow, so everything swimming's going to be coming into that feed area, seeing that bait fall potentially, and it just looks so natural.
Yeah.
So you can't really get the presentation like that you can with the pole.
No, impossible. Yeah,
Overlooked,
massively-
isn't it, Jay?
Yeah, massively
Overlooked.
versatile method that needs to be used a bit more. I'm going to go and do this while lockdown is occurring.
Oh yeah.
This is my day out Waggler
Yes,
fishing.
mate.
I'm going to come here. Yeah.
Go on, Jay.
Hopefully, I definitely enjoyed that one. So we'll be back very soon with another little in focus method. So,
Your turn next, mate.
back on the bank. Yeah, I'm going to kick him off the box now. I'm going to catch some fish.